Good morning, YouTube. Doing something a little different today. It's a special day today. It's a package day. I received a package in the mail this morning from my good friend Jeff. You can find Jeff on YouTube at his channel, now titled Rotten to the Core. You may know him formerly as God Emperor Leto II. He had given me a heads up to let me know this would be coming, so I thought I'd do something I don't usually do, and I would do a package opening video today. So we'll see what's in here. I don't know any more than you do, except for the fact that it says books on the customs declaration sheet. I'm not going to show you the other side because I don't want you to know my home address yet. We're not quite at that stage. So you may know that Jeff has been a very active member in the online RPG community for several years now, along with myself. He was very active at the Tabletop RPG one-shot group. He adminned it with and for me for quite some time. He is also the main admin at the MythRogue, Mythic Fantasy role-playing game RPG Players Group, I believe it's called, on Facebook as well. So if you're into playing some Mythic Fantasy role-playing game, that's the premier place on Facebook to go and find games. He's rebranding his channel, as I told you. He's changed the name to Rotten to the Core. So if you were formerly subscribed to him at God Emperor Leto II, you may find now that he's no longer in your subscriptions list. That's because the name has changed to Rotten to the Core. And if you haven't subscribed to him before, you should do so. I'm going to put the link down below in my description. Now, package is open. Let us see here. We have a note. And hopefully, there's nothing too personal in here. Hey, Ian. Sorry it took so long to get this to you. As the figures of Kirk and Spock, I saw the figures of Kirk and Spock and immediately thought of you. Hope they bring a small smile to your face. I've also enclosed a copy of DP&D, which is Dark Places and Demogorgons. Get your mind out of the gutter. I'm not sure if you have this one yet, but it's a decent enough game. You've also got a copy of The Horror at Red Hook. This was when Chaosium rented out Call of Cthulhu to anyone. Someone made this for 6th edition, but it would be easy enough to bring this to 7th edition if you wanted to run it. Pretty much a hack and slash adventure, not so much investigative work, but that could also be pretty easily changed. Hope you enjoy these, man. Best, Jeff. Well, thank you very much, Jeff. I'm sure I will. Well, let's see here. What do we have? Oh, my. Yeah, we have a Mega Constructs Captain Kirk figure here. Yeah. And a Commander Spock. Oh, and I like this. This is, I mean, it's maybe a little bit hard to tell, but we're talking Leonard Nimoy original Spock here, and William Shatner original Kirk. These guys were two of the best. My favorite three characters. Sorry, I should say my favorite trio of characters has always been the original series: Spock, Bones, and Kirk. Just the way they play together, the way they represent three sides to kind of one ideal individual. I always love those characters. So thank you very much, Jeff. This is great. These are going to go up on the cabinet for sure. I have to run a Star Trek one shot again sometime. And here we go. There is the Dark Places and Demogorgons. Survive This. Role-playing game by Eric Bloat at Bloat Games. In the 1980s, strange things happened everywhere. Following in the tradition of the highly popular Survive This, zombies come Survive This, Dark Places and Demogorgons, a tabletop role-playing game that uses the original 1970s fantasy role-playing game rules, but mutates it into retro nightmare that you hold in your hands now. It is sleek, slender, and creepy as hell. In Dark Places and Demogorgons, you play as high school students during the early 1980s. The town you live in has had a rash of disappearances and strange happenings. The adults seem lost as to what to do. The police are as clueless as ever and aren't helping, and Reverend Phillips is on another witch hunt. It's up to you and your friends to figure out what's going on and stop it from happening again. Brilliant, Jeff. I've been wanting to check this out actually for quite some time. I just never pulled the trigger and ordered a copy. So this is an excellent collection of my, or an excellent addition to my collection. Forgive me, I'm on my first cup of coffee in the morning. Oh yeah, good stuff here. And this will be my first Bloat Games addition to my game shelf. Oh, this is great. Look, this looks really good. So thank you very much for that, Jeff. And Eric Bloat, watch out. I'm coming for you. And then here is the aforementioned The Horror at Red Hook. Empty box out of the way. So after Lovecraft, Call of Cthulhu, The Horror at Red Hook, The Cold Case of Robert Soydam by Rick Dakin or Dakan. There you go. As you can see the cover of it there. It says, "You'll never read Lovecraft the same way again. 10 years ago, the sinister forces at work in Brooklyn's Red Hook neighborhood coalesced in the events described in the short story, The Horror at Red Hook. The abductions, child sacrifices, and public downfall of the previously reclusive and well-respected Robert Soydam were big news at the time, but a decade later, those demonic events are nearly forgotten. Only 2 living people know what really happened that night in Red Hook. When devils and demons walked the earth, an agoraphobic retired police detective named Malone and a very special young girl who wasn't even born when the events took place. After Lovecraft, The Horror at Red Hook, The Cold Case of Robert Soydam, that's awful, contains everything a Call of Cthulhu group needs for a few evenings of mythos-inspired fun, including pre-generated characters and the entire text of Lovecraft's short story, The Horror at Red Hook. It is the latest in the innovative line of officially licensed Call of Cthulhu scenarios and supplements from Super Genius Games. The latest, that is, as of, looking for a copyright date here. Well, we may not have one. I'm sure it is in front. There. As of 2009, that is. Anyway, so awesome, Jeff. Thank you very much. Jeff knows I'm a huge fan of Call of Cthulhu, and I convert things to 7th edition from all the previous editions quite easily. So I will definitely have a look at this, and maybe Jeff, maybe. Great. Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing my morning coffee with me and sharing in the bounty of this morning's postal delivery service. You know, you can always stick around here for actual play games. I do quite a bit of Call of Cthulhu. I still have an ongoing Call of Cthulhu by Gaslight campaign, which is bi-weekly and will be going on for the foreseeable future. Don't have an end date in mind. Also, I have a Lamentations of the Flame Princess campaign kicking off here on Friday this week. Again, no end in sight per se, but I'm starting that off with the Better Than Any Man module, which is supposed to be good for at least 10 sessions. We shall see. I guess it all depends though on what the player characters do. Go check out Jeff's channel, Rotten to the Core. I'm really excited to see what he's going to have coming out. I know he's planning to do some off-color commentary and humor videos about the RPG scene. Definitely can't think of too many people who know the scene better than Jeff. He's been around for a long time, like myself, since probably the era or even before the era that this throwback game takes place in. So yeah, so if you think you'd be interested in checking out some commentary and humor videos from a guy who's been in the scene for a long time, who's not afraid to put his real face and name to it, go check out Jeff over at Rotten to the Core. Like I said, the link's in the description. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time on Fantastic Dimensions.